Hello, today I bring you a review of The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. Now let's just address the elephant in the room. This has happened because I've had this book for over 10 years and my dog ate it years ago, and the thing is, I don't want to get rid of it because if I give it away I know they're just going to chuck it in the bin, and I can't bear chucking it in the bin, so it's just going to stay this way. That's just what's happening. I didn't actually read this copy, I read it on my Kindle, so I'm just holding this up for appearance's sake. I'm hoping that this doesn't cause you too much heart pain because, it is a loved book and I'm only keeping it because of that reason. So this is Oscar Wilde's only real novel. Obviously he was a playwright, and mixed feelings. I have mixed feelings about this. Basically, for those of you who haven't heard of this, it is about a man called it is about a man called Dorian Gray, who he sort of lives a high life. He starts in this book as being quite innocent, and through things he does, people he meets, he gets corrupted. We start in this book with him and his artist friend Basil, and he is sitting for a portrait that Basil is painting of him. And this portrait becomes very important in the story, and as Dorian Gray does these bad things, he keeps his youthful appearance, and everybody sort of says that he can't be a bad person because he looks so pure and innocent, but every bad thing he does, the picture gets tarnished, and the picture displays the true horror of the things he has done. That's all well and good. I knew that storyline. However, I was not prepared for this to be what it was, and I can see why Oscar Wilde wasn't particularly a novel writer. I love Oscar Wilde. I love his opinions. I love his children's stories. I love his plays. I love the quotes that he came up with about society and politics and the world in general. However, I feel like this book was his effort to amalgamate that all into a novel, and it just didn't work. The storyline is very, very lacking. The conversations in this go on for pages and pages and pages. Effectively, the whole story is a conversation and, well, a few conversations, and it just didn't quite work for me. I think the way I read it as well did not help this, because I was reading it in my lunch breaks at work. I only get half-hour lunch breaks, so it took me a good 3 weeks to read, and obviously I would be stuck in one conversation for a few days, and so that would make it feel like it was more. But I think even if I hadn't read it that way, I think it still would have grated on me slightly. Not that I didn't enjoy this, and I did, and I liked the conversations, and I liked what was being said. I just don't think it's the best novel there is. I think it could have been better, maybe as a play or something that Oscar Wilde was more adept at doing. I just didn't feel like it worked as a novel. I felt like there was no characterization. I mean, we see Dorian Gray when he is sitting for this painting, and we sort of see a few events that happen after that, and then we skip years and years of his life and literally hear about all the bad things he has done through conversation. And it's kind of just that old adage of show don't tell, isn't it? And it's completely a telling novel, which isn't a bad thing, but I just felt like there needed to be a bit more stuff that actually happened rather than stuff that we were hearing about after the event. Other than that, I gave it 3 stars on Goodreads. I did enjoy it, and I did feel sad that I didn't love it more. I will probably reread it at some point because I think I would like to see how I would feel about it if I read it in a shorter period of time. But for now, it was a slight disappointment, and I had a horrible feeling it would be, to be fair. But I would still recommend it. It's one of those books I feel you should probably read because there's so much in popular culture about this book, and I'm glad I've read it after having owned it for 10 years. But, it goes to show, because when I did pick it up 10 years ago, I was really enjoying it, and then I just got to a point where I was not inclined to pick it up again. I can see why. I feel it's one of those books. Bye.